Now that it's draft season and everyone's talking about the 2024 NFL draft and all the quarterbacks in it, I want to take a look back at 2023. Now I already have a video about CJ Stroud. Everyone knows Bryce Young's situation. That just leaves us with Anthony Richardson, who I don't see many people talking about this offseason.
Breaking college football news, Anthony Richardson's going pro.
Anthony Richardson would declare for the 2023 NFL draft after only starting 13 games. When he was being scouted, the biggest things about AR were his size, speed, and incredible arm strength, which got him compared to Cam Newton. He would come into the NFL at 6'4", 244, and ran a 4.43. Wow! Among other teams, the Colts were wowed by his measurables and highlight plays he showed on his limited film and would select him 4th overall. After being selected, he would come out firing in week 1, scoring a rushing touchdown and throwing for one in a loss to Jacksonville. Then in week 2, after scoring 2 rushing touchdowns, he would self-report a concussion a series or 2 later and be out for the rest of that game. He would return in week 4 against the Rams and led an almost incredible comeback, throwing 2 touchdowns and rushing for another. But in week 5, he would suffer a season-ending injury to his throwing shoulder on a run in the second quarter. He'd finish the season playing in about 3 full games, completing 59% of his passes for 577 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick, but adding 136 yards on the ground and 4 touchdowns. AR5 is a confident thrower, and his throwing ability is way more developed than we thought it would be coming out of school. One thing that was a weakness for Richardson was his ability to anticipate throws over intermediate zones, and on film, there were a few examples of him doing this exact thing, especially against the Rams, which is one of his 2 full games. The linebacker that was in zone ended up just taking Josh Downs down the field, and AR had perfect ball placement over that linebacker in between the safety for about a 33-yard gain. Then, to Drew Ogletree on a very similar concept, seam route right over the intermediate zone linebacker in the 4th quarter of an 8-point game. Richardson fits it in above Christian Roseboom, the linebacker in coverage, for Ogletree to get a key first down in a drive that would end with Ogletree scoring a touchdown to help send the game to overtime. Now, something I do want to bring up. I talked about his confidence in throwing the ball, but sometimes he has way too much, as he will try too hard to fit it into a tight window that is way too tight, or he'll put just a little bit more juice than needed. The 2 plays I just talked about are good examples of his confidence allowing him to put it past intermediate zones, but a bad example of his confidence would be a throw to Pittman that hit his hands on an out route, as it was a little too hard and high for Michael to grab it. He definitely could have if he jumped a little higher, but it was still a more difficult catch than it needed to be. Or a rounded flat route to Kyler Granson that hit Granson low in the hands. Now, this confidence I keep bringing up is not just in his regular throwing ability, but also his ability to make off-platform and off-script plays, because his pocket presence is so developed, more than I thought coming out of the draft. Guys, before I continue on with this video, are you looking to join an NFL community of other engaged fans? Well, join the Fanatic Sports Discord server, link down below in the description. That he knows how to move up or out of the pocket to avoid pressure, most of the time. Obviously, there were some rookie mistakes. On the Colts' first touchdown in the Rams game, he moves up in the pocket to immediately get away from the pressure. Then, runs outside on some horizontal jump type of dive pass. He throws the ball right to the hands of Mo Alley Cox, who takes it in for a 35-yard touchdown. The next play, the 2-point conversion, he broke an Aaron Donald sack, eludes a couple other defenders in the pocket, and hits Moss on what was a little duck to score the 2 points. Another play. This is all in the Rams game, by the way, when he was legitimately stepping up into the pocket with all of the pressure and offensive linemen around him, jumped, and threw the ball to Pittman down the sideline. While it was a very contested catch, he still brought it in. His athleticism, strength, and let's not forget one very big quality in quarterbacks, their torque of their hips, just their body in general, to get the ball out of this play, is just insane. He literally jumped in the pocket and laid a seed of a jump ball for Michael Pittman, a good contested catcher, to grab on a 2nd and 20 in the 4th quarter. AR5 is known for his athleticism, and he's an athletic runner too. But don't let that deceive you. Don't fall into the stereotype. He's also a smart runner. On an 18-yard touchdown quarterback draw against Houston, there are many ways to talk about this play. One is the play call. They put their back in motion as kind of a second option bubble route, and then the guard pulls up past the center to pick up the linebacker. Anthony could have picked the hole the guard left when he pulled, which would just be stupid, but we've seen bad reading from players before. It was open, but he knew the play design and followed the pulling right guard, accelerated through the hole, and showed his dynamic ability on this touchdown run to get past all the defenders for an easy touchdown. His second touchdown run in that game was just great deception play calling and an easy run to the end zone, which ended in the hard hit that made him go for a concussion protocol. Now, he is a dog, and we all know that, but you may have noticed me talking about the play calling in that sequence. And this is one reason why I think Anthony Richardson will explode in 2024, and that reason is called Shane Steichen. Shane is one of the best play callers in the NFL, period, especially with quarterbacks with the innate ability to run. He worked with Jalen Hurts during his near MVP season and Super Bowl loss. As we saw in 2023, without Steichen, Hurts in that offense struggled, specifically at the end of the year. With Steichen as Anthony's play caller, even in the limited plays we saw last season, they can create explosive plays in the air and on the ground. One thing about Shane is that he loves the pistol formation and passing out of it. Play action out of the pistol is his favorite type of play, and having a guy like Michael Pittman running the slant, whatever route on that play, is perfect because he is a great number one wide receiver no matter what anyone tries to tell you. One play that Shane likes to call out of the pistol is a play action throwback to Jonathan Taylor, and they did that with Gardner Minshew. Imagine that play with Anthony Richardson. After the fake to the running back, the defense will fear his ability to run to the other side or rip it deep, as he will just boot to the other side, turn around, and throw it back to Taylor. That is another explosive playmaker in the offense, as he led the NFL in rushing yards and scrimmage yards just a couple years ago. Steichen brought this offense to above average levels without his franchise guy. Gardner is serviceable, but he is not the playmaker Anthony is. And by the way, this includes a top 10 rushing offense. Zach Moss may be gone, but Jonathan Taylor is now fully healthy, and AR will be by the beginning of the season. They could also bring in like a late round running back in the draft, like Dylan Johnson, a prospect I love in this draft for some reason. Don't ask why, but I do. And this offense, if they bring in anyone else at running back, will be elite next season. You know what? Never mind. If everyone stays healthy, for sure, they will finish top 5 in every at least rushing category and efficiency statistic. The passing game is nothing to underestimate either. That's going to be a staple in this offense. Outside of the pistol, Steichen provides a great array of passing sets in plays that involve stuff like cheat motion, which we've seen from the Dolphins. They basically started that. Play action, of course, and other deceptive ideas. They locked up Pittman for a few years, have a promising young receiver in Josh Downs, a solid tight end group, and with one of their top 50 picks, they will select another receiver. Most likely someone like Xavier Legette out of South Carolina, because I assume that they don't take receiver in the first round, because they probably want to get a corner first. So Xavier Legette or someone around that caliber will be there at their pick in the second round. All this offense needs is another playmaker on the outside, because every other position is locked up, except maybe tight end, which they may choose over receiver in round 2, if a guy like Jatavion Sanders is still there. They also had a top 8 offensive line in both the rush and the pass according to PFF. So Richardson will have a lot of time in the pocket to throw to either Pittman, maybe Legette, Downs, or whoever they get, because he won't get sacked a lot. He'll have all the time in the world, and with his pocket presence and his mobility in the pocket and outside, he can make any pass play successful at this point. It also allows Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson, and by the way, Jonathan Taylor led the league in yards after contact per carry last year, to have time before they get hit running the ball. Even though they both have great contact balance, allowing them to have time before they get hit makes so much more room in this offense for success. With added weapons probably coming in, and a developing Josh Downs and a star Michael Pittman, there is a lot of potential for Anthony Richardson to blow up with this roster. Well guys, there may be some concerns about AR5 with his accuracy, consistency, injury scares, and sometimes being unable to fully read the field. I've seen him go through 4 reads before, but there are times where he messes that up. The Colts have so many things in place for him to succeed, that those issues will not matter in the long run. After they add like 1 or 2 more weapons in the draft, we can expect Anthony Richardson to fully submerge himself in the Shane Steichen masterclass of an offense to win the AFC South, reach the playoffs, and bring a breakout quarterback season to the city of Indianapolis for the first time since Andrew Luck. And with all that being said, that is it for me, guys. thank you for tuning into Fanatic Sports. Made this far in the video. Come on, give it a like, subscribe to the channel. All support is very much appreciated. Helps me out more than you know. Also, follow me on TikTok at Fanatic Sports, on Instagram at Fanatic Sports 25, and on Twitter at Fanatic Sports again. And this is Joe of Fanatic Sports, signing off.